What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Blue River Bow Hunting Podcast, episode 135. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving with their family. Got to spend some time with your family and outdoors even. I got to spend the weekend with my buddy Troy Delaney in West Virginia, chasing some mountain bucks in the snow. Pretty fun. I'd like to shout out some sponsors before we get started. Local 18, Heat and Frost Insulators out of Indianapolis, jumped on board with the podcast and YouTube. Like to thank them. But Alex Debord, last episode he was on was 109. Talk about it outdoors, chasing weekends. What's going on, dude?
But first and foremost, glad to be back, brother, man. It's been a while, and we in my world now. We was in turkey world last time. We in the buck world now.
Oh, that was one of my first remarks was going to be was, you guys are killing it on the turkey game, especially the podcast. It's been very big in the turkey world. But one of the last things you said on this podcast before we logged off was, I want to come back on and talk deer. So I was thinking of guests, and and you popped in my mind. Your picture popped up one day. I said, I'm texting him right now and asking him because, you're killing it over there, bud.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It's been a very blessed year. We've had a great year on the team across the board. It's been probably our most successful year as a team. For everyone being in the woods. It was an incredible trip to Illinois. It's been an incredible early season in Georgia, which we can dive into all that stuff. But I'm just glad to be back in the middle of November, coming in the back door, getting into December. This is my time to shine, son. I'm back.
Oh, that's awesome. The Midwest is getting dumped on snow right now. I just took the trash out before we hopped on here, and between about 3 o'clock and now I've got about 4 inches out there, something probably close to it. And I always enjoy hunting in the snow, man. Especially if you hit one bow hunting or something, easier track job. I was in the mountains of West Virginia this past weekend, and I got there on Friday fairly early. Went and did put a setup in on a ridge I saw a nice buck on in October when I went in there. And soon as I get set up, get the camera set up, pull my gun up because I gun hunted. I was like, if I'm going back over there, if their gun opener just happened, I'm gonna take a gun. Screw it.
Right.
And it just started dumping snow up on me up on these mountains, and I could see just for forever in these big bottoms and ridges, and it was incredible compared to hunting flatland here in Indiana.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask if that was your first trip to West Virginia.
No, it was my second. The first time I went there, I had a giant 8-point, about 45, 50 yards. He came up over this ridge, and I had a doe at like 10 yards. So I'm trying not to move a muscle because she's right on top of me. And he was checking her out. I don't know if he was going to come bump her or what, but he took 3 or 4 steps off that ridge, stopped, looked at her. She looked at him. He turned right around and went right back to where he was from. I'm like, you got to be – my wind wasn't blowing that way. He didn't run off. He just said, nope, something ain't right. I'm going back the other way. And I saw a ton of deer while I was there. Saw a bunch of does and stuff this past weekend. I didn't have a doe tag. I probably should have bought one just to donate some meat to the family that lets me hunt his property. But didn't see any antlers this time when I went back, which is kind of discouraging, but I still had a blast hanging out with their family. They get together every Saturday night in his dad's garage, and his dad plays music on the guitar, and his brother brings the drums in, and they just have a big family gathering every Saturday night. It's one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of.
I love those camps where you get music and things like that, which we can talk about Illinois as we get into that. We can talk about camp there live for us up, and because it's like I said at the beginning, it's been one of the best starts to a deer season that I could ever ask to have been a part of, and it just keeps building. I don't know, you live long enough, I guess you get blessed with a few of those every once in a while, and that's why we chase it. I mean, I keep going back for everybody says, well, I've killed this and I've shot that and this, that, and other. And I'm like, I still want to I'm still just as driven to go after them as I've ever been. And probably this year more than I've been in a lot of years. And it helps when you get good equipment, trail camera wise, and you got pictures and things like that. And it's, I don't know, it's been fun for sure.
The wife said before I left for my trip, she said, you killing that buck in Indiana didn't scratch that itch. I said, that's an impossible itch to scratch. I've tried. I mean, between Missouri and then coming back home for gun season, beginning of gun season here, I hunted like, I don't know, like 14 straight days or
Yeah.
something like that. And I would have went 15 if I had a tag.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a good thing, obviously, about Indiana being a $1 state. It's helping the quality of the deer we're getting. But when you kill that $1, you're like, shit, I want to go
I got to
hunting
go
still.
find something else to hunt now.
Exactly. I'm going to another state, and I had multiple states that I could have went to. Could went back to Missouri if I wanted, down to Tennessee. I still have a tag there, but chose to go back to West Virginia. That's not really high up on people's lists, I don't think, as far as for deer hunting or bow hunting. But the atmosphere is really fun over there, and there is some big deer. Troy's got some nice deer on camera. I mean, it's nothing like what we have here at home, but they're still very nice deer.
West Virginia is one of those sleeper states too.
Yeah, I think so too. They got some nice deer there. That he was showing me some pictures of some bucks that some of his buddies had killed, and they were very respectable deer. And
I got some buddies.
He shot a 173 there 10 years ago or so, something like that. But it was a friggin' stud.
I got some buddies that go up there and chase them, and they really get after some giants in West Virginia. I mean, and it's one of those states. It's the one that it's not easy to hunt. And you coming from, flat land or whatever anybody wants to call it, I mean, them places ain't no easier to hunt than the hills. I just think that here we got a little bit of a more of an uphill climb. But did you notice? And I'm here. I am asking questions.
No, go ahead. That's what I love. Stuff like that.
Did you notice the differences in the wind, the way it swirls there in the hills and stuff? And so,
absolutely,
something that you never heard growing up was wind. I never heard that growing up hunting. I mean, we didn't pay no attention to it. My uncle that I've hunted with my whole life, my best friend in the world, my Uncle Wilburn, he smoked Winston 100 cigarettes and hunted with a 742 30-06 and killed bigger deer than anybody around, killed more deer than anybody around. And wind was the last thing on his. So when I got around well-versed deer hunters, I started to learn about wind. And you come back home and like, I'm going to hunt an east wind. Well, it calls for an east wind. You go in and hunt it. Well, it's south. And then it's north. And then it's west. And the wind here, if we don't have a steady 7 to 8, 10 mile an hour wind, you're wasting your time trying to even look at it. Yeah. But the thermal game has completely changed the way that I deer hunt. And then it's one of those things that you don't think about until you learn it. And once you learn it, you can't not think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for me, I honestly believe it's the reason that I killed the deer that I killed in Georgia was the wind direction, 100%. I would have blown every deer out of there had I not went in. If it'd been southwest or southeast or south, I'd have blown every deer in there out. I would have never seen them. Mm-hmm. But that thermal pull, I was so worried about until I got the strong enough wind. I had an 8 to 10 that day, and it, the deers came in the right direction. But those thermals, I just am curious how somebody coming from that side, flip the coin, because you're coming from that side back to my side.
Well, the place I was hunting there in West Virginia, huge. When I say huge, it's an understatement. Elevation change compared to what I'm used to, where it's very, very, very minimal. I had a big drainage in front of me, and then I was kind of in between two ridges, but there was a saddle that came off of a power line, and then it came up another ridge, and it was just like ridge after ridge after ridge. Mm-hmm. But they were hammering that saddle coming in, and then with the thermals like that, especially in the evening, I really didn't want to sit there. I was like, man, I don't even think I should sit here, because my thermals are just going to be dropping down in that drainage. And then kind of on both walls, you're kind of screwed, because it's just going to be like almost like a dryer effect. Mm-hmm. It's just going to keep rotating back up probably behind me. May have been why I didn't really have much success in the evenings there. Most of the deer that I saw when I hunted there was in the morning time, which kind of makes sense when it comes to thermals.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that we always learned growing up and didn't know why hunt high in the morning, low in the evening. Mm-hmm. And I never really thought, well, why is that? And then I thought, well, the sun's going up, or your thermals are going up. Well, the sun's coming down, your thermals are coming down. And when I started learning about thermals, I got away from using those puffers, the wind checkers, and I started using milkweed.
Right.
And when you drop milk, hell, we didn't have no milkweed here. I didn't know what that was. Hell, I got a sack full of cattails one time and tried to throw that out, and that was a terrible idea. I mean, you couldn't see them going anywhere, but we didn't have milkweed. When I figured that out, you drop that milkweed and you'll see it fall. And when it gets to that thermal pool, I've seen that stuff literally follow all the way down to a creek. And now the wind, let's just say you're hunting a north wind and it's blowing right at your face. Well, the wind is blowing right over your head on those ridges, and that thermal though is pulling right down to that, and it's following that water. And it's crazy to see. And podcast has really changed. I mean, I've listened to a lot of guys tell about thermals and things like that, and that's where I learned about. Okay, maybe I need to change up how I'm doing this. I knew what to do, I thought, but when I learned what I needed to do, oh man, it changed everything.
Absolutely. Honestly, I'm trying to think about some of the people that I've had on. You may be one of the first people I've had on from Georgia when it comes to deer hunting. Talk a little bit about Georgia deer hunting, terrains, and that kind of stuff. Like what's it like there where you're at?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go back to the beginning.
Yeah,
because I was a deer hunter coming up in the 90s where there weren't that many deer here. And, you know, there was quite a few deer in South Georgia that got killed. We never hunted South Georgia. We didn't have a hunting club down there. My dad and my uncle, they would go down there and hunt sometimes. We always hunted up here around home, and we lived just at the foothills of Appalachia or Blue Ridge. And we would go in these hills and hunt. We had a hunt club right here close to the house. I remember going the first time I ever went to the woods hunting, my dad had got me a single shot 20 gauge, and we go down to our hunt club and didn't see nothing that morning. Went out to a field, and he said, try that gun out. You ain't even shot it yet. No scope or nothing on it. It's smooth bore. Throw that thing up, turn it loose on it, knock me. And not a real big feller now. I'm tall, but I'm pretty skinny. But I was a little bitty shit back then, and it knocked me backwards on my ass. And I thought, I ain't never shooting that thing again. But the next gun he got me to hunt with was a Mini 14, 223 Ruger. Still got it to this day. We went to the woods, sat in a little ground blind, shot, missed a doe that morning, was beating myself up. And that was probably when I was, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old, maybe. Didn't do much deer hunting, though, because I got cold and I don't like to sit still. So me and my dad squirrel hunted. We had squirrel dogs. That's what we always done. Got a little bit up in age, 12, 13-year-old, and my really got to hunt with my uncle a bunch. And he liked to go and sit and power lines and, you know, sit on big ridges and stuff. And he'd throw me out there, and my dad would take me and throw me out there. And come back from hunting one morning because I'd got cold and I was standing in camp. Old hunt club we had called Big Ten. Everybody and their brother rode down there and seen us. We was camp. That was life, you know, for us back then. Standing in camp that morning, and a gentleman who's no longer with us, Doug Harmon, my uncle's best friend in the world, he had come into camp that morning, was sitting there, and I looked up on the ridge and I seen a deer. And it was about 175 yards. And at this time, Dad had got me a 30-30 to hunt with. Well, Doug said, shoot that thing. So I was in camp right on the creek. Road bed went up the hill. I propped up there that old 30-30 and cracked off. Dropped him. And Doug was like, good God. He said some choice words, but I can't believe you hit that deer. That's 200 yards with a 30-30. He said, you dropped it. And I hit him, Doug. I hit him. Around. He said, give me that gun before you kill me. He took the gun away from me. He said, let's go up there. So we went up there and got it. But that's where it started for me when it come to deer hunting. That's the first deer I ever killed. I got it hanging over here on the wall. I still got that deer this day. And that's awesome. I'll be 40-year-old next year. And that's where it started for me at 13-year-old. But we didn't see no deer, Brett. We didn't see many deer. What people didn't understand about the way I come up, an 8-pointer was a giant. I mean, I'm talking about a magnum buck. If you seen a 100-inch, you seen an 80-inch 8-pointer. You had seen a giant. And nobody understood that as I've got older and I've told people about that. Now, don't get me wrong. Georgia's known for big deer now with the Seek One guys and what they've done in this urban area and the deer from South Georgia and stuff. But up here in these hills, man, an 80, 100-inch 8-pointer was a trophy. And it still is today to the right person, you know, don't get me wrong. But we're starting to get more deer. We're starting to get bigger deer here. And it's changed the narrative of Georgia being a little buck state or not being a prominent place to go and kill a big deer. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'll venture to say, Georgia's in the top 5 in the nation in the last 10 years for bucks that are killed. That would be of Pope and Younger, Boone and Crockett class. Got a huge deer population here now. We didn't have that before. There's a lot more places where deer can get and hide and things like this. So it's changed from what I come up doing, but it's still tough, man. I mean, it's hard to find a big one here. And when you find one, you've probably got 5 other people with that same deer on camera. And,
Right.
they just don't have nowhere to go. We're hunting small tracts, especially here in North Georgia. I mean, there's some big blocks of timber and stuff they can hide in, but you generally don't see them much during the day. They're hard to pinpoint down, and if you get on one, you better get him killed quick because your neighbor's gonna get him if you don't.
What about your Georgia DNR or conservation? Do they do a great job in your opinion for the
I have
state?
no complaints whatsoever when it comes to our local DNR officers. I have known a lot of them for a lot of years. When I was younger, it was I knew a lot of outlaws. I ain't even gonna hide and say I didn't. I mean, there was outlaw deer hunters everywhere around me, and
Right.
and I just that's the life that. When I say outlaws, I mean if they seen one across the road, they was killing it. If they seen one in a pasture, they was killing it. Nobody really thought about it back in the 90s. Game wardens was after their tail. So I always come up here in these old outlaw tales and stuff, and the game warden this and the game warden that. Well, when I got to know a few of them, really didn't bother us none. I mean, we've always got along with them good. As it comes to the state, our deer tag, if you come to Georgia and buy a deer tag or buy a license, you get 10 doe tags and 2 buck tags.
Wow.
Right off the rip, you get 10 doe tags and 2 buck tags. One buck, awesome. They do QDMA on one. One has to be 4 on one side or 15 inches wide. Some counties are still 4 on one side only. 15-inch wide rule does not apply, but one of the bucks has to be an 8-point, essentially, or bigger.
Right.
And then you can kill the other buck any size. I do think that helped. Some people complain we've got too high of a doe tag number that's given. I'm gonna tell you, I probably talk to as many deer hunters as anybody does in this state, and I don't know of a one of them that's killed 10 does in a season. And I hunt just as hard as anybody does, and I ain't never most I've ever shot in a season is 6 deer in Georgia, 5 does and a buck. I ain't tagged out on bucks in 20 years, but I don't know who in the hell could eat 10 does and 2 bucks. I mean, so I don't know why they're complaining about that.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how it's been in Indiana too. You could kill as many does that you bought tags for, but you had to follow the county antlerless quota, right, which was when I first started deer hunting. Switzerland County was like 10 does, kind of like what you're talking. Yep. And if you followed all the counties and went to all the counties you could and limited out, you could shoot like 190 some deer in the state or something. And they've recently changed that where you can only kill 6, period.
Right.
Which is, I think, pretty on track, especially some of our counties in the southeastern part of the state really struggled a few years back, and now is getting hit with it again with the EHD, which has really hammered parts of our state to make it where they've changed it where you can't even shoot does during gun season in particular counties, which they need to do something like that when it really hits the herd that bad.
My only complaint, and we had our first, what I would say, true big bout with the HD this year in Georgia. Now, I don't want to go down the pathway of trying to talk about CWD because I don't have, I've got my own beliefs on CWD and everything that it carries with it. But with EHD, it hit in our county. And there's a county, an area of Cherokee County where I live called Milton. And Milton is a very, the Seek One guys hunt over in that area. Anybody that knows them knows they hunt Roswell, Milton, Atlanta, those areas. Mm-hmm. A lot of deer, a lot of houses have been built up there. They took out a lot of the places that the deer lived, et cetera. They found, I want to say the last count I had, there was 27 bucks. Don't know how many does, but 27 bucks had been found in this little area there. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say this, but they needed to die. There's too many doggone deer over there. I'm not saying that the bucks needed to die per se. I'm not saying, right, but there needed to be a thinning. And there's so few people that like hunting. There's some huge tracts of land there, horse farms, things of that nature that people don't let people hunt on. Well, then they're the first to complain, oh, the deer's dying. I found one dead in my yard. Well, if you'd let old Alex come over, I'll help you out with that, thin them out a little bit. But
Right.
they got too many deer in that area, and I think we're going to start seeing that a lot more now that it's. I think it's always been here. I know I'm a believer Mother Nature's doing that. That's the Lord doing His work, taking deer population and controlling it.
Right.
Now, is it to the extreme some people say it is? I don't know. I think there's cars and things like that they report as EHD that probably wasn't really EHD, but it's one of the things we're going to have to battle with in our time.
Right. Your guys' is like rifle season, like even like for does only, it starts fairly early, right?
We have 5 weeks of bow season now. We have a 4.5 month deer season. September, the second Saturday in September until the first day of February, our deer season is open.
That's
Rifle
crazy.
season opens the second, muzzleloader opens the second Saturday in October, and then rifle season opens the next weekend and runs till January the 15th in most parts of the state. We have an extended archery season that runs into the end of February in certain counties. We ain't got a prayer in hell here of killing them with a bow if you don't get it done early. Or
Right.
you do like we do and hunt them all season with a bow. Some areas you just can't gun hunt. There's too many people. It's too crowded.
Right.
Metro Atlanta, you ain't get. They don't allow gun hunting, but it is KD bar the door when it comes to slinging lead in Georgia.
Which is crazy from where I'm from. We have a 2-week, 3-weekend gun season.
Yeah.
For rifles, and then we have like a 2-week muzzleloader season in December, which I believe there's a week in between. But bow never goes out. You have bow from October 1st to January 3rd or something like that.
Yeah.
So we have quite a long bow season. But if you in your right mind, like your perfect storm of rifles and bows and all that stuff, how would you set up Georgia deer season?
Deer season with rifle doesn't open until the middle of November. And I'm not saying we can talk rut here if you'd like,
Sure.
because a lot of people don't like my opinion on the rut in Georgia, especially in our area. But I believe that they should move it back a little bit out of October, give us to, even if you moved it to the 1st of November and allowed rifle season to start then, maybe run it till the second week of December and stop it. The problem with it is nobody shoots does anymore. I don't care if they're gun hunting or not. Nobody wants to shoot them with their bow. They're chasing a big buck, and I don't blame them. They don't want to mess up their area. That's their prerogative. But if we as deer hunters in the state of Georgia don't start killing some does, we're going to lose every buck we got because this EHD stuff's just going to keep rearing its ugly head.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a lot of big buck movement because all they got to do is literally get up, grab this doe, breed her, stay with her 2 or 3 days, get up, go right here, grab a doe. They don't have to go nowhere.
Right.
I got pictures on my phone when we was looking at trail. I was looking at trail camera pictures before we got on here. I got a picture just now, and that's raining here tonight, and it's pretty doggone cool. It's in the 40s, so that's kind of cool for us.
Mm-hmm.
I got 9 does in one picture.
Holy shit.
9 does and not a single buck. Now, the thing about that is I'm going to shoot those does if I can late season.
Mm-hmm.
But once the trigger switches over to them being at night, dude, we won't see those deer during the day. They will not be, because they've got such a little tight area that they go into and they stay in that little tight area. They're going to all start moving at night. So I'm still of the impression that we need the rifle season to control it, but what's the point? Hell, they made an early rifle season this year, the fourth or fifth week of bow season, antlerless only, 2 days with a rifle. And I'm thinking, why? Nobody shoots these does in rifle season. Why are y'all making it that way now? So,
right. Wonder, you should go back and like look at numbers, like how many people actually took does in those 2 days.
Oh, they'll come up with some big inflated number, I'm
Right.
sure, saying, "Oh, it's a great time to get out there in the woods with your kids and this, that, and other." And I'm thinking, we got 80-degree weather in October. It was 70s here 2 weeks ago in November. Now it's switched off cold the last few days, but
Right.
we generally don't get much cold weather until December anymore. We might catch a cold day here and there, but it's very seldom we start getting any cold fronts or movement in October, or especially, in November, but especially not in October.
Mm-hmm. You kind of referred to the rut there a second ago. When's kind of that time frame that you see that the peak of your rut or heavy rut activity?
I follow every doggone hunting forum there is in the state of Georgia, and 2 weeks into the month of October, people, they're rutting like crazy in this county. They're running bucks here, they're running does there. Yada, I seen this, I seen that. I don't doubt you've seen a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old spike, 6-pointer, small 8-pointer running does. The thought process for me of the rut is what it is. When the most does in your area come into heat, that's the rut. Just because you seen a 6-pointer over there trying to get frisky like a teenage boy, that ain't the rut. Sorry to bust your bubble, but you didn't see rut activity.
Right.
I believe, my personal opinion, the 3 best weeks of deer hunting in the state of Georgia, my area, my North Georgia area, is from the week of Thanksgiving, the first week of December, and the second weekend in December. Those 3 weeks are the time I want to be in the woods. I've seen more big bucks on their feet in the last few days, not from the tree. Had a real shitty Thanksgiving hunting this year, unfortunately. But the next 2 weeks will be the best 2 weeks to be in the woods. It's just the weather's lined up well. The cameras are telling it the way it should be, and you're going to start seeing. When I see a 150-inch deer standing in the middle of a cattle pasture in a place I ain't seen a deer all year, that's when the rut's on.
Yep.
My opinion, call it what you will, call it foolishness, but that's just what I've seen in my time frame. The best 3 weeks are those weeks in my area.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's crazy, and maybe you can contest or not contest to this a little bit. You know, usually there's one hunt that I have all year where I do see like heavy rut activity. You see 3 bucks chasing one doe in a circle for an hour or something like that. I never had that encounter this year.
Really?
I never saw them chasing like that. I kind of like you were talking about. I saw one. I think it was almost a spike or maybe in a 4-pointer. I couldn't really tell. Chasing one in a circle one night close to Halloween. Maybe she was in heat. I don't know, but that's the only buck that I saw that night. It wasn't until probably around the 9th, 10th of November, somewhere in there. I saw a little bit, but like I never really got that hunt where you're like, come home and call 6 buddies like, boys, it's on, you know?
Yeah.
I never had that this year.
I think that we experienced a very weird rut this year in the Midwest because of the amount. Most of the time you have a lot of deer that are moving when we're in Illinois, moving to those fresh cut cornfields. They've got does out there on it. We didn't see the volume of does there, and people were like, well, it's EHD's hit. No, I believe it's acorns' hit. And we had the largest acorn crop that we've had. And I don't know when. I couldn't tell you the last time we had it. I'm sure I've said this before in the past, but this year we had more acorns on the ground. If you're pouring corn to deer here, in which it's a bait state, hell, I bait. Everybody I know baits. That's just the way it is. If you ain't baiting, you waiting. That's like old T-Bone says.
Right.
So we pour the corn out. There's corn molding in 90% of the feeders out there, as many acorns has been on the ground. Now, they've been on the ground since we had that big front come in and knock them all off. They're going to sour pretty quick. And I'm seeing deer start to get back to the feeders. They're starting to show back up on cameras and stuff. And I'm starting to see a few more bucks. I had 3 new bucks show up today on camera. I'm like, all right, there we go. Now we get a little bit of movement. But all they had to do, same thing in the Midwest, seen a ton of acres. We did see a couple of days there where we saw some really heavy rutting activity when we were in Illinois. It wasn't like it was last year, I'm here to tell you, but we didn't have the amount of acres we had last year. We saw quite a few large deer on their feet while we were there. We was all fortunate enough to kill some great deer. But I honestly believe that food, why does a deer go out in the open when he can eat, he can breathe, he can sleep in one little core area? He ain't got to go nowhere.
Yeah. Perfectly said. I definitely think that happens a lot, even here, especially this year. You know, there's been times where I've hunted, let's say Halloween to Thanksgiving, that time frame, where there's still corn that they haven't even been harvested yet. This year, they had most of our corn and definitely all the soybeans out before I even got to go hunting, which is crazy where I'm from. We had a really, wet spring and then, a dried out summer, and they were able to take it out early.
We saw quite a bit of standing corn and soybeans in the Midwest. When we got there, there was still driving up through Kentucky, quite a bit in Tennessee. We got in the Midwest. Now, when I was there in October, I actually, my buddy that I hunt with up there, I go up every October when the school break is, and he's farming, and his son and I pal around and hunt together. We've done it the last 3 years, had a great time doing it. It was hot and it was miserable hunting. I didn't see near the deer that I usually see in October there, but the crops was nearly out. I got to ride in the combine and finish harvesting with him for the first time ever, and knowing him and going up there. So getting to the Midwest this year in November, we was excited because we didn't see that many. I didn't see that many deer in October, so we had a lot of hope that we was going to have a really good hunt, and we did. We had a really, really good. The weather was right. The moon phase hit just right like I wanted it to, and that front that hit while we were there, buddy, I'm here to tell you that was some of the worst wind I've ever experienced in my life. Deer hunt, 40 mile an hour gusts, northwest, like to froze my skinny tail to death.
Before we get to Illinois, let's hear the story about your first buck in Georgia. Let's hear about the story about
Lord of mercy. Started this summer, like I said. I got permission on a new piece of property. Fortunately, got to go in there and hang a trail camera in August. Didn't have anything show up for a little bit. Caught a picture of a deer, one picture. Looked like a really nice buck. Couldn't tell a lot about him. Didn't have anything for the next week. Season was already open. Didn't have really anything to chase. I left and went to North Carolina to hunt. Got a friend that lives up there. I had some tags left from, I'd bought my license in turkey season, went up there and hunted with him for 4 or 5 days. While I was there, I got a picture of him at home. Got a little bit more excited this time because he looked a little bit better. Fast forward to the second week of October, I'm in Illinois. I ain't seen hide or hair of this deer. I'm up there sweating my tail off, chasing around nothing. I mean, I shot a doe while I was there, but it was just happenstance. It was miserable, 80 degrees. Get a picture while I'm up there on Friday of this deer. And I had not got really excited because, like I said, it was so sporadic with him showing up. Never got a nighttime picture. It was always in the daytime. Random times, too. 9 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 12:30, 5 o'clock. And in my mind, I'm thinking, this joker ain't showing up here in the night. He's living there. He's living close right here. He's coming in here. He's eating a little bit of corn. I throwed some out on the ground, had a camera there. Me and Tyler had already went up and hung a stand. Tyler Moore is my go-to anymore when it comes to deer hunting. Cody's always been my hunting partner, and he and I have hunted all over the country together. Don't get a lot of time to go anymore. He's got 5 kids, stays busy with ball and everything. Tyler, this season, is a new dad. So my hunting partners is getting slim, son. I told them they're going to have to play in this breeding season for themselves out a little bit better. They about ruined the rut for me. But anyway, we go in, we hang a stand. We hunted it one time, didn't see nothing. I get back from Illinois on Sunday, and I get a picture of him on my way back that morning. I thought, all right, big boy, you've messed up and let me kind of figure out what you're doing a little bit. I believe you're living in here. And I am a firm believer that if you're just hunting trail cameras, you're wasting your time. Right. You know the deer's in the area. That deer could walk 20 foot outside of the range of that trail camera and never get a picture of him. He's there. You've got pictures of him in that area. Pick the right wind. Pick you a good entry route. Go hunt the deer. So that's what I did. Monday, got up, went to work, got in Monday evening, said I'm going in. It's about 3 o'clock when I got in from work. And this was on October the 19th, 20th. So October the 20th, get ready to go, start to pull out of the driveway, picture of him standing in front of the feeder or in front of where I throw the corn out. So I thought, well, I ain't going in there. So I go to another spot, wound up killing doe that evening, come back home, got it in the cooler. Next morning, I made a decision. I was going to go into work till lunch. That's on Tuesday. Work till lunch. I'm going in there. Well, didn't work out that way. Got hung up at work. Wound up having to go pick up a fuel filter for my Jeep. Get my clothes on, go to pick up this filter. Ain't been there all day. Ain't seen him. I thought, shoot, yeah, it's going to work out perfect. 4 o'clock. He's standing there at the corner. I think, you sorry dog. 2 days in a row now, 3:30 and 4 o'clock. You've got a pattern a little bit going now. Yeah, you got him figured out. You're going to get him tomorrow, big boy. Got the right wind, this northwest. Still, we're going to kill him tomorrow. Well, 12 o'clock, I get in from work. It's hot, pretty warm weather. Get all my stuff on. Get in the tree, 12:45. Ain't dark till 8 o'clock or whatever it is in October here. Miserable hot, swatting bugs, got my thermocell on 9, running wide open. Do not see a deer. And I think, this is just asinine. I don't know what's going on. About to drive me crazy. Go to work next morning. Get done with everything. Get home. Talking to Tyler all day. Well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what he's going to do. I said, I'm going hunting. So run a little bit later than normal. 4 o'clock, get home, get my stuff on, go to the woods, get in there. And as I'm hanging my camera base on the tree, I had 2 does come in. So I stand there. And this goes on for about 45 minutes. I think, man, I've got to do something. I've got to get ready. He could be in here at any minute. Well, big heifer cow up on the cow pasture where I'm hunting at. She bellers real loud. Them does get out of there like they've been shot out of a cannon, son. I mean, they're gone. Gone. I think, all right. So I get my stuff ready. Way me and Tyler set this stand up, it's in an overgrown clear cut. It's between 2 big pastures. Only open spot on a little old creek there we could get on. Everything's poplars and briars. It's thicker than hell. I mean, there ain't nowhere else to get. Cleared out a spot down on the creek there. Had a little opening anyway. Got some feed on the other side of the creek. Got great access across the fence, right in the tree. Growed up on both sides, son. It's money. One of them perfect
Right.
money spots. Ain't nothing going to get you out here. I'm sitting there. Doze is gone. Keep hearing something over to my right. Squirrels everywhere in there. And it's, like I said, it's a growed up thicket. Chipmunks running in and out. And if you've been in the woods long enough, you know steps. Squirrels will surprise you. They'll get you going.
Right.
They'll fire you up. But you know steps. That. And I heard that. And I knew. I had my bow on my lap. Didn't even have it hanging up. Tight little area. Didn't want to be moving much. Cameras rolling. Burning through batteries like crazy. Don't want to be doing nothing. And I keep hearing this every once in a while step. I ain't seen nothing. That's at 5 o'clock. A little after 6, I peered to my right, and coming through this briar patch thicket where a rabbit have a hard time going, son, there's a deer coming through it. And I said, what in the world? Left a lot of cover on that side of the tree, growed up pretty thick. I looked down. I see horns. Knew immediately it wasn't a deer I was in there after, too small. Little 8-pointer. All right, cool. Had him on camera with this buck just a few days prior. He's somewhere close. Little 8-pointer comes over our feeding around. Wind's northwest. It's going right over my shoulders, kind of skipping right over the top of him. Well, he sees me. And he does to doing that old funny looking around, trying to figure out, yeah, what are you up there? What do you got going on up there, big boy? Who are you? That's a big old squirrel. I'm sitting there, didn't move. Well, finally, he kind of steps around there, young deer, stupid, walks back down the hill. Goes back down towards the creek, and I look, and I see the other deer. And I see horns, see a big split on one side. I said, that's it. So they're in the thicket. I go ahead and stand up, fire the camera up, got it running, point it down there. I forget all about the camera. Deer ain't had me tore up like this in a long time. I'm shook. I'm shook. But that deer ain't leaving that creek without an arrow in him. I knew it. I put it in my head. I've said it time and time again. There ain't no question I'm killing this deer. And if I say that, 9 times out of 10, I can get an arrow in him. It's when I go to question, I don't know if he's big enough. I ain't gonna shoot him. All that. No, this deer is dying right now. I'm standing there, got my release on, hooked up, waiting. They're feeding around. Well, he walks out in that creek. Got a pretty good thicket there still. See an opening. Forget all about the camera. I made a decision. I already got one buck, a little spooky. If he gives me a shot, I'm taking it. Don't care if I get it on camera or not.
Right.
He stepped into that opening, and I thought, well, I'm going to let him come out here in front of me. Got a clear shot here. and there's a trail on their side of that creek. And what I believe these deer was doing while I wasn't getting them on camera much, they was bedding on that leeward ridge, same ridge I was on. Didn't realize it till later on. Big flat there. They'd bed, could see everything, could hear everything. They was protected there. They was coming down. They'd come up. They'd feed around. If they're still a little hungry, they'd go over and get them a bite of corn. They'd leave. Or they wouldn't get no corn and they would leave and circle right back to their bed. Deer steps up on that like he's going to go up towards that trail. Sorry about your luck, partner. I drew, and I remember, I can recall it in my mind. I can see it clear as day. When he steps up on that bank with this leg, his left leg, I just buried that pin in him and I touched it off. And that Grim Reaper ate him up, son. There wasn't no going nowhere. He run about 40 yards and piled up. And I'm going to tell you, the emotion that come over me in that moment was sheer joy, excitement. You know, it's one of them moments that I've been just, I mean, it's the biggest bow buck I've ever killed in Georgia. And I've been bow hunting since I was 15-year-old, 24 years. Right. And I'm just elated. You know, I'm thrilled to death. And I had seen, every day I had hunted there, I had seen this little old cardinal. And that joker would fly in there and he'd land, he'd leave. And I'm one to take observation and things like that. I don't know why. It's just the way my mind works. I like to see stuff like that, the woods, squirrels, coons, whatever it might be.
Right.
And I've always heard a little old cardinal comes visit you, somebody coming to see you from, you know, the other side. Whether it's your buddy that's went on and you know, your parents or whoever it might be, a loved one's coming to visit you. Well, that little old cardinal, he never would stay. He'd fly in, he'd leave. Well, that evening, that old cardinal come down there and he bounced around on a log. And I got video of it, him bouncing around on that log down there all evening, the evening I killed that buck.
He's like, hey, it's coming, get ready.
I knowed it. And I had thought about that, and I talked about it on the camera there and everything, that it was my buddy Dusty, 20-year-old kid, I think he's 21, 22-year-old, known him his whole life, got killed in a work accident a few years ago, tore my world apart. Wonderful kid. I always try to remember him. Huge deer hunter. Love his parents to death. They're just great people. And I always talk about Dusty coming to visit me or whatever. Well, I believe old Dusty was down there bouncing around going to watch me shoot that buck. And
that's awesome.
He got to see it. So Tyler and Cody come help me drag him out. And it was, like I said, he didn't go nowhere. He piled up and wound up being my best Georgia bow buck all time, 130 and 7/8 inches, 14-pointer.
Awesome, man. And I know kind of what you mean when you say that the emotions that you were going through on that. I had that same emotions in Missouri, seeing that buck come up the draw to me, because like you said, it was your biggest buck. Would have been my biggest bow buck too. I say today he's still between 140, 145, somewhere in there. And when I let it off, boy, it just came over me like a storm. I was sitting there, I couldn't hardly get my phone out of my pocket, just sitting there, hand is shaking. And that's why we do it, you know. That's why we love.
There ain't a drug in this world that'll compare to that. They ain't a drink of alcohol. They ain't a concert. They ain't a nothing you can do in this world. It's kind of like we had Chipper on a few years ago, and he said killing a 170-inch deer in ninth inning, bottom of the ninth, World Series. That's you're up to bat. That's the only two that can even compare to it. And he still picked the deer over that. And so that's, I mean, it's one of those things that, like we said, we chase, and so thankful my buddies was there to come. I got pictures. The kids was tickled to death, brought him back to the house and skinned him out. My dad came by and looked at him, and I told him, I said, in the video, and of course I videoed the whole thing, had the whole story, put together a good video with it. Didn't get the kill shot on camera. Don't really care. It's my video. I'm tickled to death to be able to put it out there and share the story. But I truly believe that little old cardinal played a big role in that deer. And it may not mean nothing to nobody else, but it means a lot to me, that's what happened, kind of the way it played out. And I got him at taxidermist now, so another taxidermy bill.
Don't you love those bills?
Mm-hmm.
That's about the only bill I like paying.
They getting higher and higher anymore.
Oh, yeah. What's the average mount cost there in Georgia?
$650 is a good one. That's as good as the taxidermist I use and others I have used in the past. The best of the best around here, they're about $650. That's for a wall pedestal. I mean, that's what I like to do, those wall pedestals.
I like those wall pedestals.
I'm actually doing that deer from Georgia in that new Extreme Sneak. I ain't never mounted one in it. I've always hated them things, but they got one now that goes way down and his head's looking up a little bit.
Hey, I was hesitant on those first. My buddy shot a nice 8-pointer and got it done. I love those mounts. Those are pretty slick.
I wanted something different. I mean, I got a lot of wall pedestals and stuff around the room and everything. And I mean, I just wanted to do something different with that one. And I'm anxious to get him back and look at him a while.
Absolutely. My wife put stipulations on me now. It has to be 140 to go on the wall. And she said when I get the 140 to put on the wall, that number goes up to 150. I'm like, you got to be. This ain't fair.
Well, and I said that I wasn't gonna mount anything unless it was 140 or bigger. And I kind of got to thinking about it, and I thought, like these deer here, I've killed with a rifle or a shotgun in the Midwest, and all my bow bucks is over, and I ain't got but 4 or 5 mounted with a bow. I'm thinking, I'm gonna mount that joker. Hell, I can't take it with me when I go. He's going on the wall. So
yeah, we've been doing our own Euro mounts for the last. I got a whole cabinet over here with Euro mounts on top of it. Starting to really like the Euro mounts. I think
them.
they look. I need to get those. I've seen them all over like TikTok and stuff, like the little mounts, and I'll start mounting them in between some of these mounts.
I got a wall full of them over here. I'll send you a picture of. Go on Amazon and buy them. They're cheap. You can buy like a 4-pack for $20.
Oh, that ain't bad.
Little hangers. They got a little J hook that comes out on them. I've got 5 hanging right there. Bow bucks that I've killed that I just Euro mounted. 110-inch. I'll get one down real quick and show you.
Yeah, go ahead, grab it.
This was the biggest bow buck I'd ever killed in Georgia.
Nice.
And that's probably a 90-inch 8-pointer or something. That was, but that's what you're talking about. Euro mounts. I like it because if somebody wants to hold it or something, you can just pull it off the wall. Pull one of these big heads off the wall. They ain't holding that.
Right. Well, it's kind of cool because I had an actual taxidermist do the first one. So that was with the beetles and all that. And then they bleached it white. We do it ourselves now. We bury it in the ground, cover the rack up with like a Walmart sack, and then we cover the whole thing with like a tote. And when you come out of it, we leave it in there 6-7 months or whatever, pull it out, power wash it without breaking anything. And it's got like a natural look to the skull compared to like being bleached white. I like it better, but that's just my personal opinion,
Well, and I think that's, everybody, I've got a backpack mount and I've done,
those are cool.
I did one a little different. I bought an old Levi Strauss bag off of Poshmark. Somebody had it on there and I put some stuff around on it and everything and done it a little different, but I love that backpack mount. And I just like looking at them. And then we'd say it on our podcast, mount the memories. That's what you do. And you ain't mounting the deer, you're mounting the memory. And it's
for sure.
I can tell you any story about every one of them. I can look at him. I can tell you exactly where I was at and how I felt when I killed him.
Absolutely. So you take your biggest bow buck in Georgia, turns October into November, and you head to Illinois. Let's hear about your Illinois adventure.
Well, Illinois this year was pretty special. I mean, as it always is. It was actually Cody's first hunt of the year. He didn't even get to hunt bow season, so he was so doggone busy, and so he was fired up. Man, we talked about it every day up until time to go. Same old crew we went with in the past, plus a couple of guys. There was some buddies of mine that wanted to go up and hunt some public land. Told them, I said, y'all come stay in camp with us. And I'll be honest with you, Isaac, no camp dog. They're as die hard hunters as they are. They'll sleep in the truck. They'll sleep in the tent. They go turkey hunting in the Midwest, out west. They go all over the place. They didn't know what they was getting into going to camp with us because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little bougie when it comes to camping.
Hey, I've heard your guys' stories and stuff you're like, talking about food and stuff like that. You're like, it's got to be like this, or just let me do it. Don't even mess with it.
Don't even touch it. Let me handle that. Me and Cody start planning. We already planning next year. I mean, we already getting ready for next year, but we started out, got up there on Friday, like we always do, November the 7th. It was hot when we got there, unloaded everything, got camp going, went and got in the woods. Didn't see much that first evening. Next morning, didn't see much. That was on Saturday. We knew that big front was coming in, and it was going to be cold. I mean, they was talking just dive bombing the temperature. So Saturday evening, we hunted. Well, Saturday evening, I got talking to my buddy, and I said, where do you think I ought to go? And we had a pretty special place that we knew that we had a couple good 8-pointers, great 8-pointers in there. And the decision to go in there was one that I didn't take lightly because if I went in there, it was going to be go in, after daylight. Don't blow the field out. And my buddy was real adamant, you don't need to go in there till about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning because you're going to blow that field out. Them deer's going to be on it. It's such a little, small, tight-knit area that I wanted to be real careful. So I got an e-bike, and I had that e-bike several years, game changer. Anybody that hunts in the Midwest.
This was my first year with one.
Oh,
I
God.
love it.
That's unbelievable,
for
crossing
sure.
in cornfields especially. And had about a 600-yard walk to get in there. Well, when I go up in September for Labor Day, we always do a lot of stand work. And I didn't have the opportunity to get to this spot in Labor Day. Crops was in. Didn't want to walk that far. Didn't have a chance to fix this stand in October when I was up there. Had one right across the creek. Guess what? Wrong wind for that side of the creek. Northwest going to be on this side. So I knew I had to go in there and do some work. And so I packed everything up about 12 o'clock. I decided to go in. Wind was ripping by that time. My 40-mile-an-hour gust. You remember when it was right there?
I was just west of you, just a little bit.
So it was coming. It was hammering. And got in there. I rode my bike about 600 yards to the tree. Didn't see no deer out and about. Pulled up, put my bike in the bushes, got off. Big old shagbark hickory tree. Sticks was already there from years past, but the straps was all broke on them. So took and strapped up the straps. And man, I'm telling you, I'm the kind of person I like to be prepared for things. I ain't one to really I don't like feeling like I'm unprepared. And buddy, I was as unprepared as I'd ever been in my life going to this. Had to hang a set, get everything settled. And man, thank goodness for that saddle. I mean, that cruiser makes it so easy to hang sticks. I got my lifeline around there and hooked up and got up there, hung the straps, got up there, had to get settled on my side of the tree. Big old joker. In the saddle, you got to lean around the tree and stuff. So I walked my platform around, got everything set, finally about an hour. And, man, I was sitting there and big field back to the northwest of me had some corn stubble in it. And I just happened to turn around. There's a buck run a doe out in the field behind me. I thought, man, they're on it. Little old 6-8 pointer, something small. Run this doe, and I mean, it dogged the fire out of her around this field. Couldn't get it on video. It was too far. Ran around. I thought, that's pretty cool. Well, it was like 3:30. I was tickled to death seeing some deer moving. Wind still ripping. I'm bundled up, son. And I had picked out a spot in this creek. Where I was at, I'll make it as short as possible, but there's a big drainage that come down this way. Went to a creek. There's a peninsula that come down. And that peninsula led up to a big old grass patch. Grass patch ditch. New deer had to be in there bedded. They had a trail wore off this hill, but we had a trail camera hanging right on that creek, and that's where we got some pictures of these deer. Had a really, what we think's 5.5-year-old 8-pointer crossing that creek. Big old joker, big heavy body, knew his mature, and we had the deer that I shot too. We think he was a 4-year-old. We're going to find out, and I'll get to that in a minute. But in any case, I made the decision I was going to shoot either one of them deer. Grade 8-pointer. I was tickled to death. I was like, you know what? I'm shooting either one of these deer that come in. I can't help myself. Cody texts me. He's all over. Got rutting activity, bucks chasing, seen one of the biggest bucks he'd ever seen up there. And I was like, shoot, yeah. I texted him back, set my phone down, looked up, and that joker's coming down that peninsula.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking 18 yards at this point. Wind's blowing so hard, he don't know nothing.
He don't know, yeah.
Got my bow off the hanger. Fired the camera up, had it pointed right there. It was on, hit the camera. He went to the creek. I draw, and I'm expecting him to going to the north. He turns and starts going back to the west. Well, I had to bump my camera with my arm. I bumped it around, got it in the creek, stop him, and I buried the pin. It'd been 16 yards, and I mean, when I torched it off. I mean, it hit right where I wanted it to. Smacked him, mule kick, runs up the hill and goes out through there. And I don't see him fall, but I knew he didn't go far. I knew it was pretty much a done deal. Well, I'm like, holy crap, what the world's just happened? I'm blown away right now. Really didn't. I mean, I was just tickled to death. Didn't really get the shakes or anything. I was just excited, Call my buddy. I'm like, I got him, man. He's like, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got him. Well, my phone goes off, and it's Cody, FaceTime. I said, let me call you back. Cody, we only FaceTime each other when we kill something. I'm opening it, and he goes, "You got him. You got him." And I'm like,
The trail cam video.
"How you know I got him? How you watching me or something?" He said the trail camera caught the whole thing on video. I said, "What?" He said, "Go look at your trail camera." So I call you back. So I call him, hang up, watch the video. I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Seen that.
I was like, this is unbelievable. My buddy calls back. He's like, oh, he ain't going far. He's done. There ain't no question about it. So get down and I throw shit out of that tree. I'm done. I don't care. I'm finished. I throw stuff on the ground. The wind's blowing my gloves away. I've got stuff scattered everywhere. Gathered up what I could find or what I remembered, put it in my bag, go out there, get on my bike. My buddy come to pick me up. I got dropped off at this spot. He said, "Do you see him in that field?" And I said, "No, when I first got down, I couldn't see him. It was the neighbor's field." And he said, "All right." He said, "He's got to be out there." I go about 40 yards on my bike, stop and look, and I can see him laying out there. Well,
man.
We knew the guy that hunted that, and we just wanted to make sure he wasn't in there and we could get permission to go get it. So he got in touch with him. He said, "Yeah, no problem." He said, "I ain't in there today." So we'd went out and rode around before he got back to us. We come back, we drive right over to him and load him in the truck. I don't tell nobody we've got him. I keep that to myself. I'm like, I'm going to surprise everybody. So sure enough, that's what we did. We pulled back up at camp, and I made up this big story. Well, we're going to have to go get him. I said, "Let's unload this bike back here." Well, I got acting a little goofy when I was trying to play it off, and Cody knows me so well. He said, "That deer's in the back of the truck, ain't it?" We opened the tailgate, and I got that on video and everything. It was pretty cool getting everybody's reaction and stuff. So, but wound up, I got him right here. I went and got the horns from him, but he was a
beautiful deer.
135-inch 8-pointer. I'm tickled to death with.
Absolutely. No, that's a great deer, man.
I was tickled to death with him. The other one, the one that was, he's just like him, but I believe he's got just a little bit more mass. I believe he'd go, a little bit better, but I couldn't be no more tickled with him. I mean, shoot, 5 days of hunt, but we'd been up there 3 days, and Alex was tagged out. It was time to go have a celebration.
Absolutely. I can't imagine the number of beers that died that night.
Way more than they should have. I promise you that. The peppermint schnapps was flowing.
Whoo! Question about Illinois. Is it a lease that you guys all get together? Is it just a permission piece? How did you put that together?
So in 2018, Cody and I started going up there and hunting on a permission piece he had. Hunted it for a year. I did. Didn't get ran off of it by no means. Cody could still hunt it, but there was quite a few people that hunted this property. And I told him, I said, "Man, I'll just go up there and hunt public land." And so that was in 2020. Went up there and hunted on public land. And that was the year I blew my thumb off with a firework. I don't even know if I'm telling y'all about that.
Yeah, you told me that one.
That was the year I did that. So I had a crossbow. Couldn't pull my bow back. Couldn't use. I had a cast on and everything. Cody was best friend I ever had in the world. He's my best buddy, and he's like, "We're going to Illinois." He's like, "You go buy a crossbow. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Help me hang a set, and I'll kill one on public that year." First deer I ever killed in Illinois at all was on public land. A year later, hunted the same piece of public, killed 366 days the same tree. I killed my best bow buck I've ever killed in my life, 147-inch 8-pointer. Killed him out of the same tree that I killed the year before. Next year, July, we go up there to do our scouting. We go up and scout around and stuff like that. And I found a piece of private that joined some public, and I called the guy and asked him about hunting it. And he said, "No, I don't let nobody hunt." Okay, no problem. He said his son-in-law hunted it. Okay. Well, he'd seen a good buck on this property. And I got in touch, wound up getting in touch with him, and we chatted all year. We chatted through deer season that year, and I take that back. That was in 2021 because that's the year I killed my buck. 2022, I went up there coyote hunting. He invited me up there to coyote hunt with him. We coyote hunted that year together quite a bit that season. And one night we was riding around. He said, "Man, I got anything I got deer hunt, you can deer hunt with me." He said, "I know you good enough now." He said, "We become buddies." and truly become one of the best friends I could ever ask to have. We talk. It don't matter if he told me tomorrow I couldn't deer hunt, I'd still go up there and visit him. I'd still go see his family. It wouldn't change a thing. And it never was about that for me.
Right.
It was about a friendship that we could garner, and we've developed a heck of a friendship. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. And Cody's got his permission piece, and then everybody else hunts on public ground when we go up there, and have had great success on public up there. Isaac this year with us killed a 130-inch 8-pointer on public ground, a monster bodied deer. Tyler killed his biggest buck he's ever killed in his life. Shot it. It was a 110-inch 8-pointer, great deer. I mean, awesome buck for him. Cody killed one of his biggest bucks he's ever killed up there, 120. And I killed on Sunday. Monday we got up. That's when the snow had blowed in a little bit. Still cold as could be.
Yes, it was.
I didn't hunt Monday evening, but Isaac shot his buck Monday evening on public, left it lay him because he didn't see it fall. I got up and went with him to track his deer Tuesday morning. We found his deer, and within 5 minutes, Cody was FaceTiming me, telling me he had shot one. And within 5 minutes of that, Tyler called and said that he had shot one. So we had 4 bucks down in camp in a matter of 3 days, and it was unbelievable. That's the night that it got exciting.
Oh, I guarantee it. So how going from that Georgia that you explained to us earlier, going up to the Midwest, especially hunting public like that, how was that transition for you, and how exactly were you putting it together? What were you putting together that put you in those situations?
One of the things that we learned about hunting the Midwest that I'd never done was e-scout. I started really paying attention to maps and stuff like that. And what I had seen in the Midwest was deer go to food. That's the thing they want to, they congregate towards. Just like here, but unfortunately we've got acorns. If a white oak's dropping, there's going to be deer there. Well, you don't know where that white oak might be in 100-acre, woods. You just got to go find it.
Right.
Where it really paid off for me was thinking about, and I've told this before, and I've let this out of the bag probably more than I should have, but finding the escape is my thought process for hunting any public ground. I don't care where you're at in the country. A deer has an escape route. What does that public ground also have? A shit ton of pressure on it. 99% of the time, you're going to see somebody else on that public ground.
Mm-hmm.
What's them deer trying to do? Get away from somebody. I like to hunt thickets. I like to find that escape route on where they can get to safety, a piece of private within 100 yards, a big draw, whatever you want to call it. But we found that little escape route kind of by accident because we walked into a beaver pond and couldn't go no further and come out the other side of that beaver pond. I'm like, this looks like a pretty good spot right here. I can see 25, 30 yards in all directions. I'm going to hang right here. And that's how we found that spot. Could have been 5 bucks killed out of that by now if people would have listened to me. But the woods changed a little bit. A tornado hit that spot. And it's still a good area to go into and hunt. But finding that escape route, man, I mean, I honestly believe that's – but – you can talk about, and we hear this all the time, social media puts the North hunters against the South hunters, against the West hunters, against the East hunters.
For sure.
You got ways of hunting that I'm not going to do, and I got ways of hunting that you're not going to do. But Absolutely. The commonality in it is we both going hunting.
Yeah, for sure.
And if I go to the Midwest and hunt like I did here all my life, I wouldn't have never killed shit. But I got around well-versed deer hunters and learned how to hunt those deer by listening. Now, it's hard for me to listen. I like to talk. Anybody that knows me knows I like to talk. But I'll strike up a conversation with somebody and I'll hear what they're doing to be successful. And I take that stuff and I put it in my cap.
Yeah.
Put it back there in that thinking cap. Hunting the wind, huge in the Midwest. You get a good north wind 5 mile an hour, son, you're in the money if you go into the right spot.
Yep.
And had I not learned that, what I know now, would I have been lucky? Hell, who knows? I've been in the right place at the right time more often than not. So,
what about that saddle? That saddle change up a lot what you're doing when you were going on those public lands?
Oh, from carrying that damn M200 Millennium in there and a set of climbing sticks that weighed 45 pounds? Absolutely.
For sure.
And we talked about this on our podcast here recently, change. What's the change that you're willing to make? If I saw a deer at 60 yards, I'd sit there and think, well, maybe he's going to come a little closer. Now I see a deer at 60 yards. I'm getting my butt out of that tree, and in 20 minutes, I can be over in another tree with that setup and right back up, and I'm 10 minutes maybe sometimes before I see another deer come out. Play the wind right, you slip in a little closer to that bed in there, you can push the envelope a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You from the Midwest, you know all about them doggone crooked trees y'all got up
Oh
there. They
my
ain't a
God.
straight tree in the state of Illinois.
I don't know how some of those people even hunt climbers and stuff in those
We
places.
did, by God, we did. Son of them shagbark kickers. I told Cody that the last time I come out of one of them, yes, sound like a freight train coming down that joker. And it's just learning different things. But that
For
saddle
sure.
is my favorite way. And I'll be honest with you, I stay warmer in that saddle than I do in a lock-on. I'll freeze to death sitting down in a lock-on. But, man, in that saddle, you're kind of moving around. You got the blood flow to your legs still.
Yep.
You know, it keeps me warmer. I freeze to death in a lock-on. I do. I sit there and I get cold because I ain't moving, you know, at all.
It throws me off going from the saddle to the lock-on because I'm like you. I film everything. So I use the saddle light arm from Fourth Arrow.
Yep.
And when I get into a lock on, I'm like, fuck, I can't even use this thing.
Yeah.
So I got to put my fluid head on my straight arm and have it. And it's just like, I don't know. I'd rather just sit in my set. Can I just put my platform above it? I don't even want to hunt. Like I got several XOPs and stuff. I never hung a lock on this year. I never got to the point. What I was doing in certain places was having sticks already in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And moving them from tree to tree, but just be able to go in and go right up, and you know how it is when you have the sticks already, you know, up in the tree, your setup time is very, very minimal.
Well, let me ask you this. When you hang a lock on, you're a right-handed shooter, right?
Yep.
So you hanging that lock on for a right-handed shot, your strong side.
Normally on a lock on, I almost put it in a spot to shoot straight ahead.
Right. Okay. All right. So you're strong. Most right-handed shooters are setting it up where it's good for them to shoot. Right.
Yeah. Right.
All right. I'm left-handed.
Oh.
So guess what? I get in any stand. I'm bass backwards usually to what people. Most time people's got that strong shot. They can shoot all the way around this way, and then they're weak. I get in there in my saddle and use that as my platform.
Yep.
I'll hang it right back. Well, I'm the same strength now, but with that camera arm you're talking about, it allows me to have it right there in front of me and not have to have it off to the side and things like that.
Right.
6+ hour set, my butt's sitting in a lock on. I ain't sitting in that saddle.
No, it'll make my legs go numb.
Yeah, I hate it. I want to sit in that lock on. It's one of those things that I prefer to do. But if I'm going into a spot and just hunting in the morning, hunting in the afternoon, whatever, I'm putting my saddle on, and I'm basically free to do whatever the heck I want to do, you know.
That was one of my biggest purchases in the off season. I had the same saddle for, I don't know, 3 years or whatever. I wanted to change it. I knew what I wanted in a saddle.
Right.
So I went with the tethered ultra lock. So I got the shoulder straps, the big pockets. I can fit. I mean, those little cam buckle straps for them sticks, I can fit about 20 of them straps in there. You know, even my rangefinder, everything is in there. And then when I go to the lock on and I put my hunter safety system on, I'm like, shit, I don't even have my rangefinder.
That's exactly right.
You know,
that's why I wear that saddle regardless.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll take my bridge, and when I put my saddle on, I put it behind me, and I'll hook that bridge to my lifeline or whatever it might be, because we run. I'm telling you, man, we've got to where we're running lifelines in every tree that we're getting into. We're running I went the other morning. I shouldn't tell this, but I'm going to. I went the other day and I didn't have my safety harness. I didn't have my saddle either one. I thought, well, it's just a lock on. Man, I sat there all morning, uncomfortable as could be,
nervous,
worried to death something was going to happen. Had too many people fall out of trees, and we saw that video here recently where the boy didn't have his carabiner clipped all the way in, fell out of a tree.
Yeah, that didn't look fun at all.
It scares me to death, doing something I love to be unsafe. And I mean, I've got up there and got stepping sideways or whatever, and oh God, nearly fall. And what if I did fall? It scares you.
For sure. In that time period that you go to the Midwest, it sounds like you've done it for several years now. What's your favorite week or favorite time period to come to the Midwest?
I want to be there from the 7th. I've got to be there from the 7th through the 12th. That 19th, 11th is my favorite 3 days. I've killed bucks on the 19th or 11th every year that I've killed a buck up there. I've seen the best activity in my area that I hunt in that time period. And I'm a big believer in following certain people's logic when it comes to deer hunting. And when I heard Don Higgins say that the best time to be in the woods, the best day to be in the woods is the 19th or 11th, it kind of fell in line with me. If I had my choice, though, I'd love to be there for Halloween. It doesn't work out for me to go then. I have to go earlier in October. That's just when time allows. But I honestly feel like your chances of killing a big patternable buck is during that time frame in the Midwest.
Yeah, I think I told this last week on podcast. I used to take that first week off, and I never really traveled past Halloween. I was like, home. I'm home. I know
Yeah,
what the deer are doing here. I've done this year after year. I kind of know. I switched it up this year. I said I'm traveling in that time period that I'm taking off, and I love that second week of November because I've traveled or even at home.
mm-hmm.
That first week, it seems like they're locked down. I don't see as many deer. Definitely don't see the big ones. They could be the ag is so big here.
Yeah,
They could be out in the middle of it, and you have no idea they're even there. But he's been
that's
pushed
right.
her up against a fence somewhere, or what behind a barn, or you never even know anymore.
I
But
think if you're going to hunt public land, if you're going to take the opportunity to go, you're not chasing. Don't get me wrong, people kill them every year, but if they're going to just see the most deer, that time frame in my opinion, you're going to see the most deer that you're ever going to see in your life. If you're coming from the south. You're also going to see an absolute astronomical amount of people. You're going to run
absolutely.
into people on public land.
Mm-hmm.
I told them boys that went with us, this was their first year going, you're going to see people, you're going to run into people. That doesn't bother them. They turkey hunt some of the most pressured places in the country. That doesn't bother them. They don't care to be 60 yards from somebody else. It's public land, and I've always been in the impression if a guy comes in and sets up 60 yards from me, guess what? That deer could go that way, it could come my way. One of the two of us is going to get a shot. Be kind. Don't be a jerk to somebody. They're doing the
For
exact
sure.
same thing that you're doing. They're trying
Yep.
to get in there and hunt, but also on the other foot, don't be a jerk to that guy that came in there or that was already in there. I can't shoot 60 yards in the woods nowhere.
All right.
What's it matter? Set up, kill one. Great. I mean, I met some guys a few years ago on public land that have become pretty good. I'm gonna say buddies, not friends, but I was going into my stand that morning that I killed my biggest buck, and he was walking in right behind me, and he called up to me. I waited on him. He said, "Man, I'm sorry." He said, "I got a blind right over here." He said, "I didn't know you was in here." I said, "Okay." I said, "You're 70 yards from me." I said, "I can't shoot 70 yards." I said, "Let's go." He said, "No, I'm going to get out." I said, "No, go to your stand. I'll go to mine. Maybe one of us can get a shot on one." Go in there. I killed my buck. Happy. He was tickled to death. Text him, let him know. A guy I'd met a few years earlier was the first person I called him even before Cody. Bill told him all about it. He was hunting just on the other side of the timber, tickled to death for me, helped me get the buck out. Just being kind to people, and later on in the week, the guy that was in the blind had moved over there where I was at, and he shot a great buck out of the same spot too. So
That's awesome. That same time period you were in Illinois, that Saturday is when we came in. Because I couldn't come in on Friday because it was the wife's birthday. So
and I hang
Saturday,
around house for that.
right? When we came in, there was quite a few people there, and I thought, geez, man, because my buddy that went with me, it's his first out-of-state hunt period, first time on public land, and he was like, man, there's quite a few people in here. I'm like, yes, but it's also Saturday. Let's see how it plays out Sunday. And we got all the way up to we were leaving Thursday.
Yeah.
Come Monday, there was us and one other guy in the camping area, and then we would see a few other trucks here and there. But it was crazy, and I planned it kind of that way to hit it from in the middle of the beginning of the week to midweek,
That's
and
right.
I mean we still saw some people, but it would have been nothing like really putting the pressure on on a Saturday or Sunday.
We see people, and like I said, it goes back to that what I said about finding the escape. People talk about seeing big bucks run into a parking area and things like that. It's because people went in there and pushed them out of that spot.
For sure.
Hot dough doesn't matter, though. Hot dough trumps it all, boys. I don't care what anybody says. A hot dough's in the area. Them bucks don't care how many people's in there. Get in there and hunt. Just go hunting. That's all you got to do. Go hunting.
Right. I've seen some pictures on your social. You guys butcher your own deer and all that stuff, which is cool. I want to hear your favorite recipe or your favorite way to cook venison.
Oh man, there's so many good ones. I'll tell you, I found one this year. It's probably my new favorite way, and it's smoking a backstrap, taking the whole thing and leaving it whole, and I inject it with 1 part lemon juice, 2 parts apple juice, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, some brown sugar. Mix that up and inject it with that. Leave it overnight to sit, and then I coat the outside of it with a Texas brisket rub. I'm big on Heath Riles' barbecue. I love smoking barbecue.
Absolutely.
I use that Texas brisket rub of his, and then I use a little bit of the Malcolm Reed barbecue, Killer Hogs barbecue season, just light sprinkle of it. Smoke it at 200 for whatever the time is. It doesn't matter. I'm going to temperature 125 degrees. Take it off, let it rest. Then I wrap it when I take it off and let it rest. Final temp, I don't know. It's probably somewhere around 128, 130. It don't heat up too much more after that. Put it in the refrigerator, and then I slice it into little pieces, little medallions, and put it in vacuum seal bags. And we eat it like taking it out and eating like summer sausage. It don't last as much, but take it out and eat it that way. I like canned deer meat, though, Brett. I'm a big fan of canned deer meat.
That's how the old boys in West Virginia were telling me about it. It's not something I've ever done or really even thought about. And they were telling me how they call it cold packing.
Yeah,
They said they'll eat it with crackers and stuff. I'm like,
That's
I gotta try this.
Well, anybody that wants to do it, you need you a good pressure cooker.
Absolutely.
We do it for at 12 pounds for 90 minutes, and we cold pack it in there, no water or anything. Really clean pieces of meat is the key, though. You want to take and get all the gristle you can, because if you can gristle, you're getting canned gristle. Some people say, "Oh, it just boils it out." Nah, I don't want to eat gristle. I want it to,
Yeah.
it's not like grinding it, which we can talk about that too. But I pack it in there, and I put a beef bouillon cube in there with it, and then seal it up and cook it. 12 pounds. I believe it's 90 minutes. I'll have to look at my chart, but I believe it's 90 minutes we do it. It's either 90 or 115. I want to say it's 90 at 12 pounds. And we'll do that. I'll take that deer meat out, not pour the broth out, take it out and brown it, put it in a little bit of flour and then brown it in the pan. And then I take that broth that's in there and mix it with my milk and make my gravy out of that. Take the pan drippings. So dude, it's oh God, little biscuits on that, son. It's that and that smoked. We always cubed the back straps. That's all we ever done. We'd cut it and we would cube it with a cubing hammer. And we would freeze it 10 or 12 pieces to a pack, marinate it in soy sauce and garlic powder. And then we'd take it off and put it on the grill and brush it with butter. Just cook it, flame broil it, real good. Eat it. Kind of a medium, probably about where we had it at. But that was the only way I ever eat deer meat besides ground growing up. In a roast, we'd make a roast.
Yeah.
Love roast. Make a shit ton of jerky. I'm a little over 70 pounds of jerky this year so far, pre-cooked weight. Got a grinder. You probably seen that video on my grinder. It's an old electric motor in an old grinder that a guy, my dad's buddy, built. Works out great. It'll chew through deer meat like ain't nobody's business. Do a lot of sliced jerky. I learned something this year with jerky. I've always cut it with the grain. It made big old long pieces when you got a big piece of ham there. I started cutting it across the grain. Learned that from a good buddy of mine. Man, it makes it way more tender. I use the Cabela's brand seasoning, the hickory or the prime rib. That's what I like to use. A little crushed red pepper flake in there with it.
Oh, yeah.
Made a shit ton of summer sausage this year because my freezer got left unplugged or the door got left open on my porch, and my deer meat had all thawed out, so I had to cook it all. Made a bunch of taco meat. But my favorite, that's got to be one of the two of them right there. That's my favorite. And I don't like deer heart, and ain't no way you can cook it. I ain't eat it or tried it. I don't care nothing for it. I don't like that irony taste. It tastes
I don't like
terrible.
that irony taste either. It's like chicken
liver.
livers.
I ain't a big liver eater. That ain't my forte. If the good Lord was calling me home tomorrow, though, and he give me one last chance to have supper, I'm gonna have squirrel biscuits and gravy. My dad makes squirrel gravy, and I'd rather have that as anything.
That sounds amazing right now. I was just gonna kind of share a recipe that I do because I'm gonna make it this week. We were talking about it at dinner tonight. I make like a cheesy meatloaf.
Okay.
2 pounds. The first pound I put in the pan and kind of create like a boat. And then I'll cut up, the whole thing of Velveeta in little cubes and put that other pound on top of it.
Okay.
And, oh, man, put your potatoes and onions and stuff in there, too, around it. Man, talk about talk about good. That's one of the best things I like cooking with the burger, at least,
Right. We do chili and beef, or what is it, the hamburger helper and sloppy
Oh yeah,
joes and stuff
spaghetti.
like that. I enjoy that stuff. Not a big sausage eater. I don't like breakfast sausage. I don't make deer breakfast sausage. I'll eat a little bit of pork sausage if it's, we kill a hog every once in a while. Me and my dad we'll grind it up. And I tell you, if you're going to make ground, I don't like deer burgers. I'm not a fan of them. They're too lean. I want some fat in there. And we used to put a lot of beef fat in with our deer meat. And it really gave it to me, an off-putting taste. When I got older, I just didn't like it. So we just straight grind it. But what we'll do now is 1 part bacon, 10 pounds of meat, and grind that bacon with it and put in there. And, if you want to make burgers, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not wasting deer meat on a hamburger. I'll go buy a pack of ground beef.
Right. We've used bacon like that before too, and then we've actually went at our local locker and bought pork fat to put in there.
Yeah.
Or beef fat, whatever they have or whatever we wanted to put it in there that time. But it's always kind of cool how other people cook their meat, because that's one of the biggest reasons why I love going to hunt anything, turkey, deer, squirrels. I want to let's cook some stuff, boys. Let's drink some beers and watch football and cook up some stuff.
We do it in the summertime. We cook a lot. I've got a pool here at the house, and the studio is right here connected to it. So we go out there and hang out. I got a little outdoor bar area that's covered, and I'll cook all kinds of. I'm skinny, but I'm a skinny chef. That's what everybody said. Don't trust a skinny cook. Well, I'm one you can trust. I like to cook and like to eat, and any kind of dips and stuff like that. But we eat a lot of deer meat. And I put up a lot. But this year I did something. My kids has always helped me a bunch with deer meat, and Sawyer's really wanting to get into deer hunting, and we talked about him during the turkey season episodes. And he hadn't never taken a deer and hadn't shown a whole lot of interest. He wants to go, but man, I've talked about this a lot, that I don't want to burn him out on it, because it's so hard to hunt here. You just don't see deer, and turkey hunting, you get to interact with them. Anyway, I made them, didn't make them. I asked them, I said, well, y'all come out here and help me with this deer meat. And one of them would hold the bag. I'd put the meat in there. They would weigh it to a pound. I like to do pound and, do it flat in the vacuum sealer. And one of them would run the vacuum sealer. And we done that. Goodness, I don't know how many times been a lot this year, because I've killed a lot of deer. And
that's awesome.
We put it up. So it's always fun to hear how other people cook. I like that meatloaf idea. I might have to try that.
Yeah, and it varies, I'm sure, especially where I live to where you live, on how people do their meatloaf.
Yeah.
I put all kinds of stuff in mine, crackers. I even put some grape jelly in there.
Oh, yeah.
I put all kinds of stuff like that in there, and really get it thick, but not like too thick where you can't really do much with it. And
I like a meatloaf sandwich, taking a sear.
That's what I was getting back to. The next day you can take it to work or something, just slice it, and
Oh my God,
with the piece of
ketchup on there. Oh my God, I love that.
Oh, absolutely. One last question before we hop off here. As far as whitetail goes, bucket list state or a bucket place to go chase whitetails.
Man, I'll be honest with you. I couldn't think of anywhere that I wanted to go any more than where I've already been. Mm-hmm. It's very hard, but my dad and I are my dad's getting older and getting ready to retire. My uncle, he don't hunt anymore. He's give it up. He's got too old. He don't want to go anymore. And that's something you think about the older you get. My life, and fortunately for me, I deer hunted around them my whole life. When I started going to the Midwest, to Illinois and Kentucky and places like that, I was branching out, and it was new to me because I was away from camp with them. I'm a camp dog. I like to be in camp. I like to be around good people in camp. We never have a bad camp atmosphere. So anywhere I could have a good camp, that's what's first and foremost for me. But my dad and I, we're putting in. We've put in, and we're putting in again probably for Kansas. We want to go on a rifle hunt in Kansas. I don't rifle hunt anymore at all. I say that, and I'm actually going on one real soon that I'll tell you about off air. But
there you go.
It's a bucket list to go to Kansas. I'll be honest with you though, if you had one, if I could pick one state that I want to go to, and really put in the time to bow hunt, it's probably Nebraska. And I don't know why, other than the fact that I absolutely love the movie Lonesome Dove. It's the greatest movie ever made. And I think about Ogallala, Nebraska, where Gus went up there to see Lori or Claire. I don't know. I thought Nebraska's Andy Morgan told us on a podcast years ago, if you want to go see 130, 140 inch deer more than you've ever seen in your life, go to Nebraska. But that's my, I guess, bucket list. People talk about going on these big Midwest or Western tours, like Cody and Nick. They want to go elk hunting and this, that, and there. And I'll just be honest with you, man.
I don't.
it don't tickle my fancy. You know, I love chasing big bucks and whitetails, but if I can't do it with somebody, I don't want to do it. I mean, I ain't one of these guys that want to go. I actually thought about leaving Illinois and going to Indiana while I was up there hunting and just going and hitting a piece of public. And then I got thinking about it, and I'm like, I can't bring it back across the state lines without keeping the skull and capping it and everything else. I ain't going to have nobody here to enjoy it with me. And Cody, he told me, he's like, if you want to go, I'll go with you. And I wouldn't be able to enjoy it the way that I like to enjoy deer hunting. We get so caught up in this idea that you got to kill giant deer. You got to, and everybody wants to. And don't get me wrong, I want to kill the biggest and the most. But people forget to take and enjoy the moments that they're given. And the older I get, the hell thing about getting older is everybody else gets older too. Your dads, your grandpas, your uncles, your cousins, the people you've grown up in deer camps with and everything else. And I want to have those memories. People all the time, and we've talked about this, that it must be nice.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I used to argue, I was working this. I don't anymore. I say it is, because it really is nice, where I worked my butt off and I've been able to do these things. And, you know, we're blessed to get to know people and get to go and do these things. And I don't know if it's what people want in this world, and some people don't. They want to chase great things. They want to make all the money in the world. But I've watched several of my closest friends die within a month, within 6 months, within a year of retirement. They worked their entire life and never did nothing in this world but work. For what? To get to the end of their working career and die? Oh, buddy, I ain't going to be that person. I'm going to be one of these that at the end of my road, I may not have a pot to piss in, but I can promise you I'm going to have a bucket full of memories that they won't nobody be able to top.
Absolutely. I'm with you in the same boat for sure. Like, I get that a lot, right? When I travel to hunt, well, that's nice. How do you get to do that? So, like you said, I put in my time in certain categories, money, vacation, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm setting myself up for those situations because I enjoy going to spend those time with people like the family in West Virginia. I'm sure Troy listened to this. Like, I can't thank those people enough. When I go, seriously, they are like another family to me.
Mm-hmm.
His sister bought my boy a one of those like advent calendars, Legos, because they thought my family was maybe going to come with. That's the kind of people they are. They spend when I say every Saturday night, I literally mean every Saturday night. The family comes in, they cook and sing, and I mean it is awesome. It's like, why wouldn't you want to spend more time with people like that? I mean, they just make your life, like you said, more memorable.
Yeah, and I enjoyed like my family now and they are family to me up in Illinois, and I've got my family that I spent so many years shotgun hunting up there in Iowa with, and they changed the rules up there on that with the non-resident party hunting. You can't go up there and party hunt anymore, which that's fine, whatever. And it's but the blessings of getting to meet those folks, and I gotta thank my wife. She's so wonderful about. She's never told me I couldn't go on a hunting trip. Not one single time has she ever told me. And we've been together, goodness, 14 years, I guess now. No, 13 years we've been married, but we've been together since she was 18 and I was 19. Off and on. Oh, Alex got a little wild hair once in a while.
For sure. Me
break
too.
up with her when I was younger, but we've been together a long time, and I got a wonderful family at home. I got an 8-year-old daughter and I got an 11-year-old son, and my daughter wanted me to coach basketball this year, and I coached basketball for a lot of years, and she was wanting to play and been playing, but she wanted me to coach this year, and I did. And first thing my wife said was, you ain't going to be able to go on all them hunting trips now you usually go on with that, playing ball. And I said, nah, I said, I'll make do. And I did. I made do. I've had to sacrifice a hunting trip or two, but man, the opportunity to get to see kid's face when you're doing something with them. My son loves turkey hunting. My daughter loves sports, so I'm gonna spend that time with them while I can. But my wife's been wonderful to me as far as being at home, and she's the first one I call. I mean, I called her when I shot my buck this year, and I got it on video. I got him, babe. I got him. She's like, you did. I mean, I could hear her and the kids in the background just tickled to death, because they know what it means to me. And damn all the deer and everything else. You take every deer in here if you let me keep the memories. That's all that matters.
For sure, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show again. We'll have to get you back on when turkeys. I know we covered a lot last time, but even just a BS session with
man,
you,
man. I'll get on with you, Brett, anytime, son. All you got to do is call if you catch me where I ain't gone somewhere, because it's never been about it's always been a genuine conversation between me and you, and
absolutely,
I appreciate that. It ain't
For
like
sure.
I'm sitting here getting interviewed or anything. We just get to shoot the bull, and maybe somebody don't want to listen to it. And hell, if they do, if they got a question about something, they can reach out to me or whatever.
Absolutely, man. I enjoy those conversations too. It's funny, actually. Last week when I had Buddy on from Missouri, that is one of the first times, and I'll admit it, I like to write stuff down to not necessarily be an interview, but to just set myself up
Talking
a little
points.
bit. Yeah, exactly. I seriously, in last week's episode, I have 4 things written down on this piece of paper, and I want to transition a little bit more to that. I thought about it tonight before. About the time you were texting me, and I had written some stuff down, but I want to get to the point doing this show where I don't have to write anything down, and I just come into it and do it on the fly. I can still do it on the fly and have a natural conversation, but just adding little bitty things here and there, like favorite recipe, like just shit that pops into my brain randomly before doing this. I want to be able to do it where I don't have to write anything down. Period.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I got to find something real quick on here. I got to find something. I'm sorry. I'm looking for something I've got wrote down, and I hope I can find. Okay. I want to. Before we close out, are you about ready? I guess we're
go ahead.
The end here.
Buddy,
I just want to. There's a Bible verse that I always like that sticks out in my mind when I'm in the woods, and I heard it on a Real Tree episode years ago, and it's 2 Corinthians verse 4, or chapter 4 verse 18. So we don't look at the troubles we can see now, or rather we fix our gaze on things that cannot be seen. For the things we see now will soon be gone, but the things we cannot see will last forever. And as I go through life and enjoy living and everything that we do, there's so much that we have to be thankful for. And something that I've quit doing over the recent years is going to the woods and asking God to let me see a deer. Going to the woods and letting Him send a big buck my way. Yeah, I'll ask for it every once in a while if it's your will, but I ask Him to get me home safe. And that's the biggest journey that I've been on in life, is so thankful God has let me get back home safe, because that's a successful trip. I don't care what anybody, you get back to the house safe, you might not have killed that big buck, but you got back home to your family. And I wish everybody has a wonderful holiday season. Christmas time's coming up. There's a lot of people in this world that's a lot less fortunate than me and you, and I hope that they can find some form of happiness this season. And that's my biggest thing in this world. People says it must be nice, and I say it is, but man, it's a burden on me a lot of times to think that the people that are less fortunate than I am, that don't get to experience the things. I'm so blessed in that regard and thankful that God lets me do that. And that's something we do on our podcast every week. We open it with our Bible verse and we talk through it. And I'm so thankful Nick come up with that idea to do it, that it's something that's meant a lot to us. And it's one of those things that, I just enjoy doing, and it's a blessing, man. Just blessing to know you, to have met you, and get to do this with you and have a conversation with you. I'm just so thankful for it, man. I really am.
Me too, man. I'm definitely thankful. Like you said, when you step into this space, you meet people, you get tons of invites and stuff like that. And I'm exactly like you when it comes to that. I don't take those invites very often.
Yeah.
But when I did, those people turn into family because
Oh yeah.
we made traditions out of it. And it's just, I'm very thankful for those traditions, all those people I've met, and just thankful to be in this space, man. I really am.
Yep, we're very blessed, and it won't be long. Are you gonna make it to NWTF this year?
I was just talking to somebody. Actually, me and the wife were just talking about that earlier. I'm trying to get there this year. I will try everything. Like, what day should I be there? Like, what day?
Friday, Thursday
Friday?
or Friday. Don't come Saturday. It's the 50th anniversary of the show this year. They had 86,000, I believe, through the doors last year. There'll probably be 100,000 through there this year. It's going to be a huge show. We'll be there in the same. I don't remember what our booth space is. That's sorry on my spot, but we'll be there right near Dave Owens in the Pinahoti booth. We're right across from him. When big buddies with Dave and the KT team and all of them. And
Yep.
it's a blessing, man. It's the best place in the world. You go up there. I qualified to call this year, so I get to get on the big stage and call. We're calling in the team. Got some pretty big announcements coming right after the first of the year for Chasing Weekends to talk about it outdoors. We're really excited about. We'll drop our turkey footage out in January. We had some awesome turkey hunts this spring. Can't wait to share with everybody. And we'll continue with dropping our deer hunts from this season next year in August. It worked out great for us this year. I mean, phenomenal return on it. And nah, man, you got to get the NWTF. If you listen to this and you ain't never been, go.
Well, now that you're saying that you're calling, I definitely want to come now and check that out. You know, you guys are doing it, like I've said earlier in this podcast, you guys do an incredible job with the caller series and stuff on the turkey hunting side of things. Met some cool people from listening to your show, and then us doing. You've been on before, and people liking and talking and commenting and all that kind of stuff, like Moose Conklin and stuff like that.
Moose is awesome. That's one of the best people in the world right there now.
But just stuff like that. Very, very appreciative for you to come on and tell everybody where they can find you and talk about it outdoors and Chasing Weekends.
Yeah, so Talk About It Outdoors. Find it on any podcast platform out there, Apple Podcast. You can find it on Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon, Google Music, wherever you go and find all your podcasts at. We got our YouTube channel, Chasing Weekends. I don't know, 200-something videos on there. One or two of them might not have but 100 views on it, but we sure do like putting it out there. Got turkey hunts from all over the country and got some deer hunts. Last season, I'm telling you, last season was a heartbreaker year. I'm talking about everybody had heartbreak. Every single person. I finally knocked down a buck. I think it was just tough on us last season. Well, the retribution year come back this year because next season's deer hunts are going to be absolutely incredible to watch. We had the best deer season we've had so far. And but any one of the social media pages, I mean, we got our TikTok going and everything over there. Still do a little bit of that. I kind of fell off of that a little bit. And that's just time and busy, with life and everything else. But
for sure,
it's you can find us anywhere. If you ever need me for anything, if I can ever help anybody out with anything, you can find me, Alex Debord, on Instagram or Facebook. Send me a message. If you need somebody, here's another thing. I get messages from folks all the time. Man, you mind saying a prayer for me? Absolutely, I will, brother. 100%. There's someone in this world that'll listen. I may not be always available, but I'll do my best to make myself available, and shoot me a message if I can ever do anything for anybody.
That's incredible, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on. For everybody for listening, or if you're on the YouTube, go check Alex and them out. They do a heck of a job when it comes to their podcast, and I'm proud to call them friends. So go check them out. We'll be back here again next week for episode 136 with my buddy Don Stevens from Kentucky. Y'all have a good one.